I am 91 years old. That number used to sound ancient to me, like a distant mountain I'd never climb. But here I am, standing at the top of it, looking down at everything I once thought mattered, and realizing how much of it was noise. I have buried people I thought would bury me. I have watched entire eras come and go. I have seen dreams built, destroyed, rebuilt, and forgotten. And somewhere along the way, without noticing exactly when it happened, I stopped caring about the opinions that once controlled my life. Not because I became wiser overnight, not because I achieved some grand enlightenment, but because time stripped the illusion away. And now, with what little runway I have left, I feel a responsibility, a kind of urgency, to turn back and speak to you, because you are still where I used to be, in the middle of it, busy, distracted, certain you have more time than you actually do. You're living like life is a rehearsal. It is not. This is the only performance you get. Let me tell you something most people only understand when it's far too late. Time doesn't feel like it's running out until it already has. When you're young, time stretches. A year feels like forever. 5 years feels like a lifetime. You make plans like you're negotiating with infinity. I'll do it later. Next year will be better. Once things settle down. That phrase, once things settle down, is one of the most dangerous lies ever told, because things never settle down. Life doesn't pause and hand you a perfect, quiet moment to begin living. It keeps moving. It keeps demanding. It keeps distracting you. And if you keep waiting for the right time, you will wake up one day and realize you spent your whole life preparing to live instead of actually doing it. There was a man I knew. His name was Daniel. This was back in the early 70s. Daniel was everything people admired. Sharp mind, impeccable discipline, the kind of man who walked into a room and made people sit up straighter. We worked together for a few years. He had this energy, focused, intense, almost mechanical. Everything in his life had a purpose. One night, we were sitting in a quiet bar after a long week. He loosened his tie, took a slow sip of his drink, and said something I never forgot. 3 years, he told me. 3 more years of this pace. Then I step back. Then I start living properly. I laughed and asked him what living properly meant. He said, travel, time with my wife, maybe learn something useless for once, painting, music, something that doesn't make money. He said it like it was a reward waiting for him at the finish line, like life was something you earned after enough sacrifice. 3 years. That was the deal he made with himself. 2 weeks later, Daniel collapsed in his office. A brain aneurysm, no warning, no buildup, just gone. He was 45. I went to his funeral. I remember standing there, looking at the people gathered, and feeling something I couldn't quite explain at the time. It wasn't just sadness, it was confusion, because everything in his life had been so structured, so controlled, so intentional, and yet none of it mattered in that moment. His plans didn't matter. His deadlines didn't matter. His 3 more years didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was that he never got to live the life he kept postponing. And here's the part that will bother you if you really think about it. The world kept moving. His office replaced him within a month. His projects were reassigned. His clients found someone else. The machine didn't stop. It never does. You think your role is irreplaceable. You think your presence is essential. It isn't. The system you're sacrificing your life for will continue just fine without you. But your life? That doesn't get replaced. That doesn't get restarted. That doesn't get a second draft. Now let me ask you something honestly. How much of your life are you postponing right now? Not in a dramatic, obvious way, but in the quiet, socially acceptable way. I'll spend more time with them when work slows down. I'll take care of my health next month. I'll fix that relationship eventually. I'll be happy once I achieve this one thing. You've convinced yourself that life is a sequence. Work first, then success, then happiness. But it doesn't work like that, because then is not guaranteed. There is no contract that says you will reach that point. You are gambling with something you cannot earn back. Let me tell you about possessions. I used to have everything. A large house, more rooms than I needed, a garage filled with things I rarely used. I remember walking through that house once, late at night, thinking I had made it. Everything I had worked for was right there. Proof, status, security, or so I thought. Now, I live in a small space, a bed, a chair, a few personal items, and I'm not saying this to sound humble or philosophical. I am telling you this because I finally understand something I didn't back then. Almost everything you own is temporary clutter with a story attached to it. You think you're buying meaning. You're buying distraction. You fill your life with objects because it feels like progress. But when you reach the end, none of it comes with you. Not one item, not one possession. What you leave behind will either be thrown away, donated, or sold to strangers who don't care about the story behind it. And all those hours you spent working to acquire it? Gone, converted into objects that outlive their importance. Let's talk about work. This might be uncomfortable. You've been told your career is your identity, your purpose, your contribution to the world. But from where I'm sitting now, it looks very different. Your career is an agreement. You trade time for compensation. That's it. And time is the one resource you cannot negotiate more of. Every hour you give away is gone forever. You don't get it back when you retire. You don't get it back when you reach your goals. It's gone. Now, I'm not telling you not to work. Work matters. Contribution matters. But worshiping your career? That's where people lose their lives without realizing it. I miss things I can never recover. Moments that seemed small at the time. Dinners, conversations, milestones. I told myself I was doing it for my family. But what they needed wasn't more money. It was me, present, available, there. I remember one night clearly. My daughter was young, maybe 5 or 6. She had a school event, something small, a performance. I promised I would be there, but work ran late. Important meeting, big opportunity, couldn't miss it. I told myself she wouldn't remember, that there would be other events, that this one didn't matter. When I got home, she was asleep. My wife told me she kept looking at the door during the performance, waiting. That memory stayed with me, long after the meeting was forgotten, long after the opportunity lost its relevance. That is the trade you are making without realizing it. Moments for money, presence for productivity, life for later. So what actually matters? Strip everything away, money, status, recognition, achievements. What remains? Connection, moments, experiences, the things that don't show up on a resume. When I sit here now, I don't replay my biggest wins. I replay the quiet mornings, the laughter, the unexpected conversations, the times I chose people over progress. Those are the moments that survived. Everything else faded. Now listen carefully, because this part matters. If you want to change your life, it won't come from some complicated system or strategy. It comes from a shift in awareness. 3 things, that's all. First, stop living for other people's opinions. You are exhausting yourself trying to maintain an image that nobody is paying as much attention to as you think. People are too busy worrying about their own lives to analyze yours. You are not the center of their world. You are a passing thought, if that. So why are you letting their imagined judgment control your decisions? Do the thing you're afraid to do. Say what you've been holding back. Take the risk. Because one day, both you and the people you're trying to impress will be gone, and none of it will matter. Second, treat ordinary moments like they are limited, because they are. There will be a last time for everything, the last conversation, the last laugh, the last hug. You won't know when it's happening. That's what makes it dangerous. You assume there will be more. Sometimes there won't. If you lived with that awareness, not in fear, but in clarity, you would experience your life differently. You would slow down. You would pay attention. You would stop rushing through moments that are quietly disappearing. Third, wake up. And I don't mean that in a motivational, dramatic sense. I mean literally, wake up to your life. Look at how you're spending your time. Be honest. How much of it is intentional? How much of it is just habit? Scrolling, distracting yourself, avoiding discomfort. You have energy right now that you won't always have. You have opportunities that won't always be there. And you're spending them like they are renewable. They are not. Go outside. Move your body. Talk to people. Repair what's broken while you still can. Because regret is one of the heaviest things a person can carry, and it gets heavier with time. Here's the truth most people avoid. You're going to die, not someday in the abstract, but at a real, unpredictable point in the future. That is not meant to scare you. It is meant to focus you, because when you fully accept that, everything becomes clearer. What matters, what doesn't. What deserves your time, what doesn't. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they never truly start living. They stay safe. They stay comfortable. They wait. And waiting becomes a lifestyle until it becomes a lifetime. Don't be like Daniel. Don't build a perfect plan for a future you may never reach. Don't delay the things that make life feel real. Eat the good meal now. Take the trip now. Make the call now. Say the words now. Not recklessly, not irresponsibly, but consciously. Because the clock is not pausing for you. It is moving. Quietly, constantly, relentlessly. Right now, as you read this, your life is passing. Not dramatically, not in a way you can feel, but it is. And one day, you will look back and realize how fast it all went. Faster than you expected. Faster than you were ready for. I am tired now. That happens more often these days. But before I go, I'll leave you with this. You don't need more time. You need more awareness of the time you already have. Stop waiting. Stop postponing. Stop trading your life for a version of the future that is not guaranteed. Go live it now.